I'm Sharath from Automations Workflow. Today, I'll be giving a demo regarding how to create a trigger in Workflow Marketplace and how to execute it. So let's get started. As you see on the screen, I have a workflow already built. So I'm going to create a trigger and will be adding that to this workflow and will be executing that. So let's get started. First of all, what I'm going to do, as a Workflow Marketplace, we have released triggers also. So basically, same as actions, you can create the triggers in this UI and you can use those. For the demonstration purpose, I will create a new trigger and will show it to you. So create trigger, trigger name. Again, these steps are same as actions, not much difference in them. A demo trigger. Okay, demo trigger. Okay, let me add a new key, maybe 1 2 here. Okay, across all the triggers and actions, this key should be unique. It will throw error if the key is already exist. I'm creating trigger now. So the trigger is created. As you know, again, the same information as we have in the action. So basically I have to select an icon. Let's go and select icon. I will select this one. Name is there, short description, again, demo for new trigger, and I will just copy paste that in the next one and save the information. Okay, so my information field is done. Now next part. So here basically again it involves multiple fields. First of all, in trigger data section, same like in the action, you were pasting a JSON response. Same thing you can do here, but in this case this section can be used for to create custom variables out of that. Again, same thing as the action, but for this demo, let's keep it simple. Let's not create any custom variable. I will just demo how to create a simple trigger straightforward and how to execute it. So I am just directly going to here. This thing, this will act as a filters. Same filters you are using in the other triggers. Same way as you create the action input field, in same way you can create the triggers. But for that, the requirement is you have to paste your sample response first, so that we can map those things inside the filters, inside the custom variables, just to create your custom variables or your custom filters. Right now I want to just create a simple trigger without any filter and just to run that. So I am skipping these two parts. We directly jump here, subscription URL. Again, this will be a post request when this will be using, we are using. So whenever someone uses your trigger inside their workflow, you will receive an event whenever they add that trigger into a workflow, whenever they update that trigger into the workflow, or whenever they delete that trigger from the workflow. So what I will be doing, I have this website called webhook.site. I will just copy URL and paste it here. Whenever someone uses this trigger, I will get a notification, I will get an event saying that this particular user or this particular workflow using your trigger. I am going to save this trigger. Okay, I am saving it. Okay, done. So first we have created this trigger, we save whatever the relevant info. Now again, as same like action, we have to submit this for the review. I'm just adding some text here as a saying change log. Okay, done. Now the first part is done. We have published our 1.0, the initial version of our trigger. Now next part, we have to install this app into our location, so this trigger can appear into our location. So I am going here into the all app. I am selecting some random app. I'm pasting my app ID there. I'm running that. Okay, install. Then I'm putting my location here. Okay, done. Now we basically install our app into the location which I am using. So this is the location. So you will see the trigger here. I will reload the page and you can see instead of 3, we will get the 4 triggers here. Okay, so if you see, we have created a demo trigger which is now appearing here. Okay, next thing, we will add this trigger to this workflow. I am selecting this trigger. We don't have any filters. I am just simply going to save this trigger. So you see a demo trigger appeared here. I am saving my workflow. If you see right now, we don't have any events, but as soon as I save my workflow, you will get an event saying that a trigger is added to a particular workflow or a trigger is created for the workflow. I'm saving it. Okay, my trigger is saved. We should get an event. See, we got a event. So this will be a post request containing this payload that includes three major fields. First one is a trigger data, second one is a meta, and third one is extra. Now let's read through it, what each thing do. Okay, inside trigger data we have the particular trigger id, we have the key which we have used for our trigger. If someone added some filters, that will be coming here. Event type, at this moment it's a created. Okay, so here are three different event types you are gonna get. So first one, whenever someone adds a trigger, a new trigger into your workflow, you will get a trigger created event on your subscription URL. That means user just added your trigger into their workflow. Next event you're gonna get is the updated one. So for example, let's say I already have this trigger, but what I did, I go here, I added some filters from here, and then again I save the trigger and I saved my workflow. You will get an event which will basically again a same payload it will have, but the event type will be updated, and you will get the whatever the latest data that particular trigger holds. And the third event is a deleted event. The deleted event will be same. If I delete this trigger from here, for example this demo trigger I deleted and I save the workflow, in that case again a event will fired which will give you same kind of JSON, but the event type will be deleted. So these are the three trigger events you're gonna get based on the user's behavior. Okay, now let's see the fourth thing, fourth key. So this one is a target URL. So basically, whenever you want to trigger an event or you want to execute this trigger, you have to hit this API. So we are going to send you the API URL via these events. You have to keep record of that, and whenever you want to fire it, you can hit a post API request to this particular URL. So that is the purpose of the target URL is. Now let's jump to the next section. It's a meta section. Inside the meta section, you will basically get the basic info around your trigger. So what the key given to this particular trigger and the version. Let's jump for the next one. Extras. Extras, we right now providing location ID of that particular trigger, workflow ID, which workflow that is getting added, and the company ID for that particular one. This is the basic JSON you will get once someone adds your trigger to a workflow. Now the last part, the execution. So for the execution, how should you execute the particular thing? So basically you are going to copy this URL. Right now I have a Postman open. I will just paste this URL to here in my Postman. Now for the body, if let's say your workflow contains some event which requires a contact dependency, for example let's say a note or any other events which are contact dependent, in these cases you also need to provide a contact ID for that. Else your events gonna skip. Anyway the trigger gonna execute, but the further things depend on does it have a contact ID or not. Based on that, those gonna vary. So the summary is you have to hit post request on this URL. If you want to include body, you can include a body with JSON type. That's all. Regarding authorization, as a high level user you can use OAuth tokens. So you have some OAuth tokens in your account, you can attach those to this request. Like same thing you are doing for the other API request for the high level, you're gonna do same thing. The channel for the authorization here will be OAuth. So that's the authorization part. Now let's hit this request and see what happens. So I'm sending the request, I got the response success true. That means my execution is accepted. And okay, let's see if the workflow started rolling. If I check the enrollment history here, so it's 12:42 and we see our action started the execution. See, the execution is finished. If we see the logs, we will see all the execution history happened here. Added to workflow, which is 12:41. So our action started executing. Let's see some logs here. So this is the logs related to that particular trigger which started the action. So see, added source is a demo trigger, which is our trigger name, which invoked this particular workflow. So this is all I wanted to show you related to our newly introduced marketplace trigger. Right now we are in the beta stage. The product is totally stable, but if you noticed any kind of bugs, you face any kind of issue, please reach out to us via Slack, via email, and we will try to help you. That's all I want to say. Thank you very much. Arigato gozaimasu. Bye bye.